Welcome to today's episode of CLCI Live, brought to you by the award-winning and ICF accredited school, Certified Life Coach Institute. Sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode.
We are live.
Oh, we are live.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. Hi, everybody out there in Facebook land.
It's fake Lisa land.
We are here. This is CLCI, Certified Life Coach Institute, and we are today going to be it's our last week of goal setting, January, and we're going to do crazy, unconventional, weird, wacky, and out-of-the-box goal setting techniques today. I'm going to turn it over to Jerome. I'm Brooke, everybody. Hello. I am the Chief Operating Officer here at Certified Life Coach Institute. And Jerome, it's your turn.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jerome. I'm one of the faces here at CLCI, and we are happy to have you guys back for another Tuesday Live. If you guys are watching, please help us out. Brooke did mention we are going to be going through wacky, unconventional ways as to how you can kind of trick your brain into getting things done. So if you have anything that you might want to suggest, feel free to comment, let us know. And we have someone here today who normally isn't, and we're excited to have him. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Joe.
Hello, everyone. Good evening out there. I'm excited to be here. I know I don't show up often, but for me, one of my goals was to be here, and so I made that goal, and I think it's very appropriate that I'm here today. I'm really excited to hang out with my family here, and this will be a fun day and a fun night, so stand by. And we have here with us our Grand Poobah, Lisa, as well. Lisa, what's going on today?
I need the Grand Poobah hat.
Yeah, now I want to get you one.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the last Tuesday of January. Did the month go by quickly? Oh my gosh, so much has transpired in this crazy month of January already in 2021. I almost was dreaming the other night about 2022, and I'm thinking, it's too early for 2022. Let me just stay here, right here. What year is it again? Anyway, welcome. Enjoy the process of not setting goals, kind of tricking your brain into easier ways to accomplish things, and enjoy this. Definitely share if you've got some additional tools that will assist with this process. And welcome. Thank you for being here.
I am pulling up the document.
Hi, guys. Okay, so I just want to say hello to Lori Prentice. Hi, and hi, Anthony. Thank you guys for watching.
Hi, guys.
Woohoo. She said, what are your clutter ideas? Oh, well, I don't know, because I too struggle with those same clutter problems. But maybe some of the things we share today will be helpful. So these are wild, wacky. Do you guys, the four of us here, do any of you guys already do you have any in mind that you use?
I do, actually. For me, when I always had goals in the past, it was always like, forgive my English here, balls to the walls, like I'm going to do this and this, and I stacked, and I made it impossibly hard for myself to accomplish those goals. And what I found what works for me the best, and it may not be wacky or weird, but it's almost not, maybe on the brink of laziness, it's just really taking something small and just doing that, accomplishing that first, and then just kind of building upon that and building upon that and building upon that. Because I really had a problem with meeting my goals when I overly get zealous about them and made them too impossible to attempt. Less is more for me when it comes to goals. And I feel like I do the big ones first, tackle the little ones later as well, is my flow.
You got mine. You stole it.
I want to say hi to Francesca too. Hi, Francesca.
Hi, Francesca.
My bad.
No, that's perfect. Well, one of the things we have on the list was eat the frog. It's called eat a frog. Which is basically do the worst thing first. So if you have to eat the frog first, and then handle all the other stuff afterwards, basically, which is, it's kind of similar in that sense, which
it works for me
that as well. The other opposite we have as an idea is to make your goals impossible. Like, but there is a science to it. By thinking like this big, if you only go halfway, you've still accomplished quite a bit, right? So, and it's supposed to push you forward. Yeah, so you can go.
No, I dig
ways.
that. No, you're right. 'Cause
Yeah.
for me, with my flow, I don't get disappointed like I used to as well. Because I would be hard on myself saying I never did this. I didn't meet this goal. And here I am meeting them, and I'm feeling a whole lot better than I have in the past. So it is, that works for me. And especially because I would beat myself up when I didn't meet the goal.
It is to learn about what your brain hacks are. I've gone from the bigger goal, I've gone to the concept of eating the frog, taking smaller bites, steps, different aspects, anything that will allow me to get her done. So I just have to know myself in that moment and overcome the brain that gets in the way and the overthinking process. And then the beat up process, which is what Joe was talking about, and move past that. Go ahead, Bert.
One of our, actually, you were just saying the overthinking. One of the crazy concepts we have as well on the list is to procrastinate. Because sometimes when you take your goal and you push it off, you are stuck in a situation where you cannot overthink it. You cannot you just have to get into action. And so actually you can use procrastination as a sort of goal setting technique.
No, I can get that one because there's been times where I pushed things and it wasn't a good time for me at that moment to do it. And by the time I pushed it, it was the perfect time for me to do it. So it does help. That I do agree.
As a creative, sometimes you can try to force yourself into that creative process and it just doesn't happen. But it's like when it's the last minute, you can get into it without even thinking because you have to, and it just happens. And so
I find that so ironic. Yeah. We have time to complete a task and it just feels daunting in that moment. Give it space the next day when it's a rush now. Mm-hmm. And we can somehow find the way to get that project done.
By the way, Sue is here. Hi, Sue. She says, I am learning. I am most alert and productive in the morning when I first get up. So I'm adjusting my action accordingly. That is true. I actually find that I write really well in the morning. I'm not a morning person, but if I wake up and the first thing I do is write, it's good. Like and they say that too, though, because you're closest to your theta states. You're supposed to be really creative when you're just waking up. Usually I'm very groggy and kind of crabby, but that's why my writing is so melancholy.
That's why your cat hits you in the face.
Yes. Nick.
I think that brings up a really interesting point. I mean, Lisa kind of touched on it. You really have to understand how your brain works. There's a lot of templates out there that suggest how you should do certain things and which directions you should go in and what time, like Sue was just mentioning. I think it's really important now to understand who you are and hopefully try some of these that we're kind of broadcasting to everyone.
I dig that. You're right about that because I think we were, and this is like that's typical. We're raised to reach our goals a certain way, and we never take a moment to really look at the other ways to do it and figure things out. And there tends to be like the unpractical things tend to work a lot well than the practical ways are because our lives are just adjusting.
I noticed that there's a pirate walking around my house.
Pirate and our
show. Amazing.
Well, see, yeah, we CLCI, we rock and roll with you guys, but we still have our families here in a time of lockdown. and we have pirates, and so yeah, my son likes to run around as a pirate. So.
Lori Prentice says, once I start, I'm okay getting started. That is the issue with the clutter. I take a numbered index card and I place them around my clutter, like Joe mentioned, just doing them in smaller chunks of work. It's about getting started. That's one of the techniques I have for when I clean is to do it one room at a time. To not like, if I have a mess, I get this room. And so I can make it into piles and I can move it into the next room, but I do not leave this room until this room is clean because then you get distracted and it's too much and it's overwhelming.
It'd make me crazy if I stayed in one room. I have to move between the different rooms.
While cleaning?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I do one room at a time. And I start like usually in the furthest part of the house and I work my way through.
Yeah, I do the book approach on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying I should do the slides for my presentation on Friday morning with procrastinating. That's a little terrifying. That brings me to another thing we have on the list, which is kill your deadlines, which is basically if your deadline is Friday, make it a week before that. Make that your deadline. Just change your personal deadline to much earlier. So then that way you have some flexibility there, but you have to really commit to it at that point.
Actually, I do that, and it do.
You said do.
And it really functions well for me. It's like setting the clock 5 minutes fast. Any brain hack I can do for myself that gets me in that phase of completing the task sooner. Like we were talking about making it an emergency. So if I see the deadlines a week before, then I just make sure to get it done, except for my taxes.
And then one of the things, mentioning what Jerome mentioned, just coming up with your own plan. That's one of the things we have on the list too, which is don't be smart, be you. Like you don't have to do SMART goals exactly as SMART goals. You can come up with your own process and work it, whatever that is that works for you. I want to share this crazy like science-backed hack goal setting technique because it's madness. So this is it's backed by science. They say you're going to need to pick whatever you want to do. So Jerome, what do you pick something that will be a routine thing for you?
Membership at the gym would be.
So then it would be going to the gym, right? Yeah. Because it's a regular thing. So you would take that. You pick a time that you're going to go to the gym every day.
Hope early. Not much of a morning person, but we'll say 6. That's more realistic, probably.
AM or PM? PM. Okay. So 6 p.m. every day. You've picked your thing. You pick the time. Now you're going to get a crisp $100 bill, brand new, beautiful $100 bill, and you can actually do different denominations. It just it's gotta hurt. It has to hurt. Yeah, exactly. It has to. So if it has to be 5 $100 bills, if it has to be $5 bills, whatever is going to really kind of, you got to get that. And then you get a lighter and a calendar, like a wall calendar.
Saying that out loud hurts me.
Yeah, you take the money, you clip it to the calendar, and of course you put the time each day on the calendar. You clip it to the calendar and you set the lighter right near it, like right underneath it. And you take a moment and you commit. It's the burn or burn. I either do this every day or I light that money on fire.
And while with the disclaimer is we know we're not supposed to light money on fire.
Yes.
We've got to create the burn on some way that's going to hack. We're trying to hack
the brain. Yeah.
To really get into the process of what it is that we want to accomplish.
It uses loss aversion because we're basically using, you're either moving away from pain or towards pleasure. And in this instance, we're moving away from pain so that's what it does psychologically. Also, we as human beings tend to like instant gratification. We do a lot of our decisions are short-term thinking, not long-term thinking. And this is a way with the aversion that keeps you on that long-term thinking path, because you might not be thinking about, oh, well, a month in the gym, I'm going to feel really good. I'm going to look really good. But right now in this moment, I'm tired. But that keeps you from thinking that short-term satisfaction, that eat the cookie now when you could have the amazing whatever you want later. There's studies, like if I said to Joe, if I gave you $500 today or $505 tomorrow, which would you take?
I would probably say the $500 today.
Yeah. Yeah.
They actually did an experiment with younger children. I want to say they were 6-year-olds, so first grade range, and it was with marshmallows. They could get a marshmallow today, or they could get marshmallows tomorrow, and that was kind of an interesting experiment. I don't remember the name of it, but it followed through with success, on how successful they kind of followed those kidlets through. They were at completing their tasks and goals. And a lot of the
But what did they choose? They chose the marshmallow today, right?
Some of them did and some of them didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it kind of depended on who they were and how they were. I mean, there was a lot of different factors in that. But the idea is if we can teach ourselves to put off that immediate gratification, that also builds our, it's all coming back to even what we're talking about is that resilience to be able to bounce back and build from there.
I total blank in my head right now. Just, like puppies are dancing and goats are wearing pajamas, and that's all that's going on in my head at the moment.
A lot of the times when we're trying to create this change, imagining ourselves in that place already.
Mm-hmm. That's huge.
Yeah, a lot of even our football teams, we're going to have Super Bowl coming up soon. Our football teams are utilizing that. Imagine the win. Imagine you already have it. Imagine and recreate it what you're in your real life in this moment that you already have it.
Yeah, that's something I've used. That vision aspect, I found myself using it a lot as I've gotten older too. Because when I was young, I didn't care. I didn't care if I ended up at that goal or not. You're like, if it happens, happens. If it doesn't. But when I started getting older, though, you do see that vision. You do see that picture, that goal, and you find yourself going to bed with that thought. You wake up in the morning with that thought, and that one's something I do myself.
That's
definitely.
The act as if you've already got it. Like act as if you've already and visualize that and behave and be the person that's already done this, and then we'll get to do it.
Well, and that's what sales people do. Like, you're going to go buy a car. What is the first thing that they have you do is sit in this driver's seat, like you own it, take you for a spin. How do you feel in that seat? So they're going to talk to you about emotional things and have you visualize even while you're living that moment in the car that's not yours yet.
So Lori Prentice says it's the Stanford marshmallow experiment you were speaking of. They tracked those kids' levels of success later, and the ones with the impulse control pushed the marshmallow and pushed them away or got up and played to wait minutes until they could get the second marshmallow the next day. Those who could wait it out had more success in their lifetime, essentially. The ones that were capable of saying, okay, I can wait tomorrow for my marshmallows, they later in life proved to be ones who achieved more success because they were able to do long-term thinking. Yeah.
There was another study with kids along that similar concept with getting the prize that they've always wanted. So what is the newest thing, the Xbox 5 or whatever's out today?
Don't pretend like I know.
So these were children from families who were not at all well-to-do. So they were struggling families. And then the other option was a gift for their mom, this amazing diamond necklace or something for their mom. And hands down, I'm starting to get emotional. Hands down, the kids chose for their mom. And I thought, oh, what a wonderful experience.
What good kids.
Yeah.
The ones that didn't, though, we want them out. They're
I just,
I don't know. It's an Xbox 5.
But harnessing that emotion and harnessing that ability to choose for others and to choose later, that's going to help us in that resilience. Again, going back to resilience and moving forward.
Yeah.
Do you blame the mom or the kid?
Wow.
Oh no, I took it there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
By the way, going back to the visualization thing, something else you can do is to actually, and this is like vision boarding, but if you actually take the time to draw out your vision or even write it out in cursive, cursive is important, but the actual act of doing those things actually improve mental cognition. It makes you attached to it. It does all kinds of things, and it really it gives you a deeper, I guess, attachment to your goal and its outcomes by doing those things. Yeah.
Kids
so
aren't
it's a little
writing
hack
these days.
Yeah.
Kids aren't being taught script. So is there a hack for them who don't write script?
I would be to draw it out.
Okay, that works.
Yeah. So here's one that might be kind of controversial. Chase rejection. So like set a goal and set a rejection goal. Like, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to be trying so hard at it that people, I get used to people saying no to me, but I'm still working and I'm still going. And it actually says in this, set a goal to collect X amount of rejections, like, so of whatever that may be. And that you can apply this to if it was working out, right? I'm going to do so many reps, but set it so impossible that you don't make it, right? But I'm going to keep going, and you'll build each time, right? It's this. And so that's the science there, is that you get used to hearing no. It builds your resilience as well.
I understand the no, and that I can see how that would work for me. The other one, putting 10,000 sit-ups and I do 5, that's
not going to help you.
Again, know what will work for you and what won't. Not everything is designed for you specifically. It's researching. And
go ahead. What is it? The drill sergeant in Full Metal Jacket, the one that's like cursing at in the whole movie. If I have that, I'm on it. Because like, tell me I can't do something, tell me I can't have something, tell me no, and that will be the thing that I want. I mean, I will do anything possible. So like, so I actually thrive in that sort of critical environment. I really like criticism, and because it does push me to be better. It does push me to go further. I had a professor in college that it was my first time I ever took art class. I'd never taken an art class, and he was so mean to me the whole class and so critical. And at the end of the class, he sat down and he said, "The only reason I did that is because you were the only student in the class that could make it as an artist." And I was so touched, but it did push me. And I think if he had just been like, "Yeah, you're doing a great job," I probably would have been like, "Oh, well, this is lame."
Whereas I would need "you're doing a great job."
Mm-hmm.
That for me is more beneficial.
I like the thing is I'm seeking that, but I will work so much harder without it. Like, I will work to get it, so it just keeps that fire, in me until I finally
do. Fired. Work right back from that.
And if I don't, I kill you.
I like that one.
We have let's see another one that we have is embrace your fear of success, this is a big thing. It's proven that people are far more afraid of success than they are of failure. So if you look at what you're going to do, look at why you're afraid to accomplish that goal. What might happen that may be good, bad. So if I was going to get a promotion, well, if I get the promotion, then I'm going to have to this. That's embracing your fear of success and sort of wrapping your head around that. Have you guys ever used that or done anything like that? Or
similar, asking yourself just again embracing the fear of success, because that comes along with new ventures. You're going to step out of obviously your comfort zone, what you're used to. And this is something that we kind of teach a bit in class. And it's really important to, again, just ask yourself the tough questions, so you understand exactly why your relationship with success is the way it is. And for you to want to potentially be successful, you're going to have to address those disconnects or those relationships.
Bianca Stevens says, "Go in scared is my rule for myself." And my dad used to say, if you're anxious about it or scared about it, it's because you care about it. That's how you know. That's a sure thing right there. So if you weren't, you wouldn't care. So it's not a bad thing to be anxious or nervous. Yeah.
So one of the things that has always been really more of my MO when trying to accomplish things, if I'm afraid and overthinking it, I just got to turn it all off and do that, as I call it, the blind leap of faith. So for me, that's the way I tend to get most of my stuff, and just jump right in, don't think about it anymore.
Yeah, you go into like just do mode, action, which is that what I do with procrastination, or when I'm under the gun, it's like, okay, we just got to move, pivot. And it's almost instinctual at that point, which I don't know, is that goal setting, or is that act? Just
that's active.
In some way to just get her done.
Yeah. See, again, I was like that before. Like, we're just like, just go for it and jump it. But I think as I'm older now, I find myself being analytical for everything I do, every step I take. And so I wanted to be, again, more spontaneous, but I find myself just too careful a lot. But I do remember, though, when I was spontaneous, that, it was a great moment for me. I did experience great outcomes as well on it. And it does work in many different ways. But it kind of makes me think about, how, as we progress, as we get older, how we kind of shift a lot in our goals.
We do.
It's dramatic.
It is. And I mean, I thought the same thing. I'm like, we could do an entire episode on like why it is that we get more rigid and scared, and as we get older, we really do. It's because I think we know what the consequence is, right? We've lived when you don't know, you just fly blindly in it because you don't know, and then when you get the slap in the face, you go, okay, maybe I don't want to do that again.
That's part of the work that as a client we have to do, because whatever we went through has affected us, and giving the opportunity to look at the outcome that happened before can help reduce that fear. Because like you said, we're becoming more rigid. That means we've let our history set the standard of what our acceptance is. And if today that is not what we want to do, then we've got to work through some of that and relabel it, if you will.
That's also one of the things, tools I use is to live out the worst scenario. Like, so accept that live out, okay, what if the worst thing happened? What if I screw up the hardest? What if it doesn't happen? Like, go through if this is the worst possible scenario that could happen, and just walk it through in your head, and then figure out how you manage that. And then figure out, because then it's not going to be that bad. It'll never be that bad. And you're equipped because you've sort of visualized how you're going to manage that situation.
That's a good point. Yeah. Jerome, did you do that with the Saints? Like, imagine them, what if they don't make it to the Super Bowl?
Not anymore. I used to, and it absolutely pained me every time they
How am I going to get through it?
There was, when I was in my 20s, I'd never gone skiing before. And this friend of mine thought he was going to teach me how to go skiing. So he brought me to the top of the intermediate. I have never skied before. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do anything else. So he brings me to, and I look down this hill and I go, oh my gosh, you're crazy. He goes, all you got to do is get down the hill, follow my lead. And I was mad at him. Oh my gosh.
It's so much better that way. It's so much better that way, though. That's how it should be done.
And I was falling, and I was this, and I was that. But the thing I got to say is, when I went down, I said, I'm not doing this again with you. I took a lesson, and I was ahead of everybody because I'd already gone bigger than what I would.
That's that impossible goal set. Yeah.
That when I went to where I felt comfortable learning, I was already ahead of the game.
There's a quote that I have here. It's what is it? Impossible is just a word the mediocre use to define something that hasn't been done yet, which is kind of cool, a cool way of thinking about it. And it's sort of similar situation. I used to teach snowboarding, and we were not going on the bunny hill. You were going down the big hill. Period. Why? Because you're going to catch an edge. It's so much harder to learn on a flatter. And we're not sitting in the snow. Your butt will get cold. Get up. Let's go. You wouldn't have liked me as a teacher either. But it does. You get rid of that fear because you just you just do.
Yeah, exactly. Because then I took the class and I was doing the intermediate, not the bunny hill. So go figure.
One of the things in this is the set under the set impossible goals, not realistic ones, is to expect to lack consistency, expect that terrible things will happen to you, expect to have periods of time where you go backwards instead of forwards, expect bad luck, and expect the worst case scenarios, but expect it so that then you're prepared to maneuver through it, really is what it is. Just have the tools in place so that you may.
That's a good way of saying maneuver through it, because I think when we say expected, I think our automatic response is expect it, so when you fail, you're not as upset when you fail. But I just love that turn of events where you said, so we can adjust yourself to it instead. Because I would have,
It's not a failure. It's not a mistake. It's a learning opportunity and a chance for accelerated growth. That's what it is. Really, I mean, but that is, it's a learning opportunity. It's, oh, wait, okay, this happened. We don't want that to happen again. What do? We go this way instead. And we try this. And it's just, life is, my dad, again, this, I'm channeling my father. It's a series of experiments. It's trial and error. And that's all we're going through life, trying things out, seeing if it works, seeing if it fails. And he's like, the only reason wise people are wise is because they lived long enough through all their trial and error to know what works and what doesn't the most.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So
it's okay. I mean, we may say the weirdest goal is it's okay to fail. It's okay to not meet your goal sometimes and reassess. That might, and when, you know, no one's ever told you that as a kid. Like, it's okay if you don't meet your goals, or you're just like, you're not meeting them, but you know, it's okay.
I think it's the Netherlands, or I can't remember.
It's always those Nordic.
Yeah.
Folk.
They don't really
they just know what they're doing up there.
Until they're like in high school. There's no testing. So there's no concept that
of pass and fail.
Yeah. And that, so when you're growing up and learning that, that's not already something that's ingrained in them, which is kind of cool. The other thing is they have a sports concept, is that they are just going to have fun. It's not about winning or losing. It's just...
My dad right now is screaming though. He's like, millennials. Everybody gets a trophy.
To his person that was, it was a show that I was watching. He was saying, so there's some that are late bloomers that through this process of just having fun, get out there and play, enjoy the process. The late bloomers that would not have been there had they not just had that ability to just go out, play, have fun. The late bloomers were far better. Some of them were far better than some of the ones that had been doing it and been successful early on. So again, know thyself.
So, and then, so 10,000 hours. I mean, had you guys, it's Malcolm Gladwell, little thought. If you do anything for 10,000 hours, you can become the master at it, which, I mean, I think that's true. I subscribe to that. I think that if you want to be an artist, if you want to be a mathematician, it's really just about practicing over and over, just doing that, building up those muscles, learning how to do it, and being so committed to it that that's what you do every day for a certain amount of time. And I think I'm an artist, but I've drawn my whole life. It was a tool that I used to get through school because I have ADHD to the nth degree, and I would have run out of class or just been really obnoxious and crazy if I didn't have paper and a pen and the ability to draw, and that's what got me through class. And so I think had I not needed that, I may not think of myself as an artist today. But it's just because I did it every single day in school, every day to get me through class. And that I think anybody can do that if they just.
So maybe that's like that big goal, set 10,000 hours, and how close are you to achieving that? Like that $100 bill, you know, work it down.
There's a concept called minimum enjoyable action. And so that's like, if you guys want to run a marathon, right? Right now you just walk. What you do is you find the point at that it's the minimum enjoyable action. So something that you can do in that every day. So if I like to walk, okay, I can walk every day. I can walk every day for the rest of my life for a mile. And then you just sort of start to up it just a little bit and sort of stack it. So you can start where you can enjoy it. And then if you start to walk a little further, you're still enjoying it. And then it's just about pushing it and then building that up. But you start with the minimum which is that bare minimum spot that you're like, I could do this every day. I could tolerate doing 5, arm curls every day. It's not going to kill me. And then you just slowly go, okay, I could do 6. Okay, I can do this for the rest of my life. And you just keep that build sort of going on it.
That's the same approach my wife used with me. She's like, I can hang with them for this much, and then I'll take it a little bit longer. And I'll take it a little bit longer there, and a little more, and now we're good. So yeah.
I got 33 years in, so it works.
Yeah, there we go.
So on the same note, they say that the difference between an amateur, which is where we would start, we're just building up to do. But if you want to become an expert, what you have to do is you start with that minimum enjoyable action, but the next step is then you deliberately practice working on your weaknesses. So that's then the next step towards expertise. Then when you change from personal enjoyment, where I do this because I enjoy it, and you start to integrate competition so that you get competitive with people. And this is how, like, this is the road to expertise along this. And then the other one is you think it's a lifelong journey. And then what you do is start to set aggressive performance goals. And that's what will take you to the expert level in something. So you start with the minimum enjoyment, you start there, and then you start to pepper in these other elements to really bring you to the level of expertise under this school of thought, apparently. So it's interesting though. I see it. I can wrap my head around that.
No, I can too. I can.
Are you guys competitive? Does competition motivate you towards working toward your goals? It depends on the competition.
Yeah, it depends on the competition.
Yeah, because if I feel like I have a fighting chance, okay, maybe. But if I feel like I don't, I'm like, nah, I don't care.
Here's the thing: if it's a serious competition, I don't like it. If we're gonna have fun and have a competition, then I'm good with that.
Absolutely.
But let's say it's not an official competition. Let's say, you know, in the School of Business, there's another institute down the road, and we just got to stay ahead of them. Definitely, like that's a motivator though, right?
Yeah, that is a motivator.
Job security is definitely a motivator.
And that's that $100 bill right there. It brings it in, right? Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, so this is I like this quite a bit. It's the meta level of goal setting. And it's boosting metacognition will actually help you set your goals. And that's thinking about the way you think, essentially. So we're going meta. And what they say, if you boost your metacognition, I have 5 ways you can do that. And you would basically put this on a scale of 1 to 5. When you're stuck thinking about something, how often do you ask yourself, what are the things I can do to help myself? So you're thinking about the way you're thinking, right? In that sense, whenever you feel like you're not making progress, you ask yourself, how often do you ask yourself, is there a better way of doing this? And you can rate this 1 to 5. And then depending on how, as I go through each scale, the next time you're in these situations, you know to ask yourself these questions, right? So then the next one would be, whenever you feel frustrated with something, how often would you ask yourself, or do you ask yourself, how can I do this better?
I haven't used that, but something similar in the sense of asking myself that question is to have confidence in knowing that tomorrow when I go back to have the thought again, so it's kind of similar, but not quite the same. I already know it's going to be different. So I'm not procrastinating, but I am recognizing in my system if I am blocked or triggered, as it were, that I know tomorrow I can remind myself that tomorrow is coming and I know I'm going to be in a better place.
And you'll feel different tomorrow. So that's thinking about the way you're thinking. It's emotional intelligence, really, is what this is, right? It's taking a moment to check in personally and go, okay, wait, I mean, is this me? Is this really the end of the world? You know, that's that emotional overreaction, myopic point of view. And if you take this moment to go, okay, wait, that's not really true. And it's, again, the absolutes too, is, you know, if you're speaking in absolutes and alwayses and things, is it really always? Is it always? And taking the moment to go, oh, okay. No, sometimes it's not always.
Most of the time it's not always.
But there's a big difference between most of the time. But then we would ask, is it really most of the time? Is it most? On a scale of 1 to 10.
So Byron Katie has this, the work that she does, and she's got that, it's a perfect example. If I wish we had a sheet, I didn't realize we were.
I can pull it up really quick.
Yeah. Byron Katie, is it absolutely true? Is it always true? She's got several series of questions that help you to identify, well, okay, this is not every time. This is, you know, just this moment, and kind of works it through. And again, emotional intelligence works it through so that you have less, I'm going to say, attachment to that thought.
Her questions are, is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? How do you react? What happens when you believe that thought is the next one. And then the last one is, who would you be without that thought? So it takes you through the whole process. So we could do an example of this. Let's see. Anything anybody's frustrated about. We can get real personal here.
I hate doing my taxes.
Okay, so Lisa, you hate is it true that you hate doing your taxes?
This is I'm gonna go. It's absolutely true.
Oh, we have, okay. It's absolutely true. Can you absolutely know that it's true? Hold on, we have a question in the chat from Lori. Totally agree. Worst case scenario can work. Today I had a client who had gained 20 pounds in 4 months. I asked her, what will it look like if her trajectory stayed the same in a year's time? Weight loss habits are hard to deal with. Do you guys have any suggestions for guiding clients into those tasks? So I'll read it one more time, just so you know. I had a client who had gained 20 pounds in 4 months. I asked her, what will it look like if her trajectory stayed in the same year's time? So 20 pounds in 4 months. Weight loss habits are hard to deal with. Do you guys have any other suggestions for guiding clients into those tasks? Of course, without. Well, I think you had a good inclination with what you were doing with if you stayed on the trajectory.
Yeah. And
I
the
think
the other tool that we did a couple weeks ago, what is your why?
that's what I was gonna say. Ask them how they would feel. How do you feel now? How do you want to feel? And get them attached to that. And what will you feel like if?
What's important?
What's important? And get them attached to the emotion that's going on, because
So we're using the wrong word, get them attached.
Yeah. In touch.
What their attachment is. What is it that they really want to do? Are they accepting themselves today? This also can move into therapy. So it's a fine line to stay on the coaching side and really just get into the questions and the discovery questions and the digging in of how that client is feeling today. What support that client's going to need moving forward. What can the client put into place?
We are projecting too, because it doesn't necessarily say in Lori's question that gaining 20 pounds is a bad thing, because this could be a situation where that was something they wanted, and we're just projecting that it was a bad thing.
Sure.
Maybe the client was really underweight. So, I mean, but in truth, it doesn't, this is us projecting at the same time too, just to point that out. Which is why it's that, how do you feel is so important, right? Because then we need to know how they feel about gaining the 20 pounds before we can know how to proceed with anything.
Yeah,
right?
this is really a case of, we really need to know more details about the coaching session than what's here. But just going with what's here, there's more foundation to set before even getting into the trajectory of where they see themselves. If this was the same.
So the answer, Lori, would be to ask more questions. She says, thank you. That makes sense. I wanted to, so here, one of our other goals, which is similar, which I was going to bring up, was getting to the why, getting to that meaning, getting attached to the emotion, and even not even setting goals. Don't set goals at all isn't a crazy way of doing goals. Instead, you can say how you want to feel. Essentially, I want, if you, instead of saying I want to lose 20 pounds, you say I want to feel good about my physical appearance. And it's not setting a specific goal, but it's setting that what that emotion is and how you will feel about it, and just having that be your focus instead of setting that specific goal.
Somebody I'm talking with, they were talking about how they were on a diet every couple of months, a different diet. They have the want in their head to have it different. But what they actually need, because I didn't speak with them directly, is to have the understanding of what is it that they want. What's their, again, going back to what's their why, what's their purpose around this. And when they're in another environment that doesn't support the direction that they're moving in, what can we do? What can you do in that replace? So it's finding out that detail, setting the foundation of that parameter with them and
Other
building from there. Yeah, go ahead.
other examples would be like, I want to cultivate a love of exercise, or
Yeah.
I want to learn to enjoy building wealth. I want to enhance my time with my family. Things like where it's not so specific, you're just talking about, okay, this is what I would like to do.
Being it light.
Yeah, exactly. And then in the same note, when with especially this was great for dieting, because diets don't work in my opinion. A diet is how you eat every day. There's no such thing as a diet. It's a misuse of the word, and it's really what you're consuming is always your diet. So going on one is kind of silly, but one of the things that you do when you're dieting is you're creating forbidden fruit, right? You're creating a whole bunch of things that you are not allowed to have or touch, which then psychologically makes you want it more.
Which is what your argument was when we started this conversation. Anyway.
So allow everything in moderation, right? Because then, so if I don't want to eat pasta, but I allow myself everything in moderation in small amounts, I'm more satisfied as a human being because I'm not denying myself anything. I'm allowed to have it. So I don't find myself craving one particular item that I want it so much that I eat it gluttonously, you know, that because I'm allowed to have a little of everything, I'm a more satisfied and fulfilled human being because I'm not denying myself one particular thing or a group of particular things.
So even in a coaching session, there's been a few times that I've used that, don't deny yourself. So they say, well, I have this thought and it's not a pretty thought in a sense. I don't want to have this thought anymore. So that's denying that thought.
And that's because now all you're going to do is obsess over the thought. Don't think about the pink elephant, guys.
Yeah,
don't think about the pink elephant.
So there's that philosophy. All your mind really hears is think about it. They don't recognize the negative word and they don't. It's telling your mind to think about it. So that's kind of the concept is, what is it that you really want? Again, going back to the why. What is it that you really want to accomplish? Well, I want to eat healthy. Great.
Get rid of the don'ts. Just that's it. It's the positive positive thinking. So saying I don't want to eat. Say I want to do this, and that's getting rid of that negative.
Bias.
Anthony, what is that in grammar again?
So it's not necessarily positive psychology, but that is part of the concept, is keeping it in the positive and keeping it in the momentum of going forward versus like the I don'ts. The I don'ts are reflective of your history. And so into I want and you moving forward.
And I want us to do one last one because this is Albert Einstein on this, and we kind of touched on this like the whole month, I think a little bit. And so when asked how to save the world, hypothetical, in 1 hour, his response was, well, I would spend 55 minutes. 55 minutes defining the problem essentially, and 5 minutes solving it. So it's a good example of this is, let's say, Lisa, you wanted to, you were going to buy Joe a present for his birthday, but you didn't know what to get him.
Well, that would be true.
So the first question we would say, okay, well, why are you buying Joe a present? Why do you buy presents for birthdays?
Because I want to give and show the love, and I can't show the love, but it's a representation that I've thought of him and his importance to me.
Okay, so you want to, one more time, because I don't think I can repeat that.
It's because I love him, but that's not, buying the gift is not love. It's just the representation of me thinking of him. So
you buy gifts for birthdays as a representation of your thoughtfulness for another human being. And then but the idea is we would keep going to defining and keep defining and defining and defining and whittling it down.
And you would make me cry, and I want to cry.
But it's those two questions like we've done the last couple of weeks, which is what will that get you, and how will you feel, and what will that get you? And that's where you just keep asking those questions and narrowing it down until you get to that core reason for your goal or your action, and narrowing that point of view. So which it could drive me crazy too, though, because I don't have a lot of patience.
If you do it the other way around, you could have that microscopic piece and blow it up the other way too.
Like I want to be fulfilled in my life, but that's not very. I mean, okay, how do you do that? And then that's what that's the build outwards, right? Instead of having that final goal, if you don't know what it is, and okay, well, I want to feel like this. What do we have to do to get you there?
Yeah. Which a lot of people do for careers, a lot of the times they don't know what they want to do in a career.
No.
Know what they're doing now isn't fulfilling. So a lot of times in career coaching, that's what we're doing, is we're building outward.
I don't need to know the answers, I guess, in that sense, because I agree with you on that. I never knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be happy right now, and then eventually the result will get me there by being happy. Then I will know what I want to do. But I think a lot of times, again, we're always honed on that. We need an answer right now. We need to find out right now. We need to have that like that.
Bias.
Yeah, and like we're so much energy is going to the end of the goal that I'm not focusing on like getting there. All my energy is there.
And that's that mindfulness, like being in the process of, and that's one of the last things on celebrate. Don't forget to celebrate. Like celebrate the little things, celebrate the little along the way of setting your micro goals and moving forward. Don't forget to take a moment and celebrate every win, and because otherwise you get lost in you lose sight of the moment and that elation and that, I achieved something. Celebration is so critical, right? I mean, I know it is.
It is.
I mean, if you're not allowing yourself to celebrate, you begin to start hating the process that gets you to, whatever your goals may be. And I mean, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of it, right?
Maybe those.
Oh, go ahead, Joe.
Well, maybe also, maybe those little celebrations is something that will allow you to spill over to other areas of life to celebrate too, that you don't tend to think about.
Well, and then think about the joy that you have when you're celebrating, and that's infusing joy into the process, and so it's a motivator.
Definitely a brain hack. Having that joy be an important piece of it is totally a brain hack.
Oh, it absolutely is, and that's where setting rewards works, because just like we can be loss aversion, we can go away from pain. We want to move towards pleasure. So having little celebrations, little rewards along the way it's critical. It really is. And I mean, I know me, I've had moments where I had a big win and I had nobody to celebrate with, and it was just me. And I'm like, well, this is kind of lame, and I'm like, I should be really excited, but there's nobody for me to celebrate with. And well, I guess I'm going to eat chocolate.
That is a sad story.
A Dove chocolate right here. You guys, have you had Dove chocolates?
Now, Lisa, you can have a piece of chocolate today, or you can have 2 pieces of chocolate tomorrow.
Which will you choose?
I can just open it up and put it over here for now, because the cool thing about these chocolates is they have a little saying in them.
Oh, I love they're doves.
I love those.
The doves, yeah, they're cute.
Be someone you look up to. Oh, I love that one.
I like that.
Anyway, yeah.
So I used to keep ice cream in my freezer, and I would buy, because I don't eat ice cream very often. It's like one of my favorite things. So I'd buy a little pint and I'd stick it in the freezer, and I will savor it. I will leave it there for inordinately long amounts of time. And it reached the point, though, that inevitably anybody I was dating would come in and eat my ice cream pint that I have been like coveting and like planning for the day I'm going to celebrate and eat it. And it would make me so mad. And they never understood why I would get so like, it's been 3 weeks of waiting for eat that. You don't know how, but that's like, I make little rewards, and it's a silly thing, but it was, it's again, not denying myself something I love, even though, but also making it a reward at the same time, which can be dangerous too, though.
How much your $100 bill though?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's funny how you were given
somebody came and ate your $100 bill? It's not okay.
Well, I'd be following them with a shovel.
$100 bill.
Well, we're about wrapped up, so we are.
No, wait. We got to check in with Jerome. We can't forget.
Oh, Jerome, how are you?
Up with Jerome. How's it been since last week?
Jerome, when did you get here?
You're good. In the process of, I know we kind of mentioned it throughout the month. One of my big goals right now is getting a gym membership. Yesterday, I reached out to my friend who actively goes to the gym. So I'm going to figure out which times work best for both of us, and I'll have an accountability partner, and I'll be in the gym.
Yeah. Happy to hear it. I'm
Thank
still
you.
alive, so I'm good on my New Year's goals.
Hey.
Yeah, I set goals I can reach. Like living.
And they're not ginormous. You can do that every day.
And the moment I'm not reaching it, it won't matter. I'll be okay. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. We are Certified Life Coach Institute. Check us out. We certified life coaches in 3 days. We're award-winning and accredited. So please check out certifiedlifecoachinstitute.com. If you like this, share it, send it to all your friends, follow us, do all that good stuff. Thank you so much. And please leave comments. We will be monitoring them and responding at all times. Thanks, guys.
Have a good
Bye.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Once again, this is brought to you by Certified Life Coach Institute. We're an ICF accredited school who certifies our life coaches in 3-day online intensive courses. In addition to other podcast episodes, feel free to check us out every Tuesday at 4:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube or Facebook for our CLCI Lives, where we get together and discuss various topics that are centered around sharpening your skills so you can become a better certified life coach. For more information, feel free to visit us at certifiedlifecoachinstitute.com. Until next time, be well.